Hi, Ms. Bitzer here. We're going to be working with alcohol and water-based markers. At this table, you're going to see the water-based markers. You're going to need to go ahead and glue or tape this paper into your sketchbook if you haven't already done it at the other marker station. Okay? You can work through these questions as you watch the video or as you're working through the drawing, whichever you prefer. Notice that at your table you will see pieces of paper. This is called Bristol board. This is the best paper used for marker because it is completely smooth with no texture. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do when working with the alcohol-based markers is we're going to come back to our color scheme page in our sketchbook and we're going to choose ourselves a color scheme. Okay? I am going to go with the monochromatic color scheme, but you can pick whichever one suits you best. Okay, so once I pick my color scheme, I'm going to go ahead and pick my palette. Okay, I am going to go with a palette of monochromatic greens. Okay, so I'm going to get a variety of markers that are different tints and shades of green. So I have my darker greens and my lighter greens, including like a grayish black color and my colorless blender. For this activity, we're going to be drawing these little watercolor paint droppers. Okay? I want you to disregard any sort of like lettering or text on the container itself. We are just going to be drawing the container. You do not need to worry about drawing on any of the packaging. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that little bottle on using a light sketching pencil. Okay, 2B or lower. Do not be sketching with a 6B or a 9B. We want to make nice light marks on our paper in case we need to erase. Okay? Again, I am going to fill the surface of my paper. I'm not going to create a bottle of watercolor that is teeny tiny. Okay? So I'm going to look at what I'm drawing here, and I'm going to lightly sketch it onto my paper. Okay, once you've drawn on the bottle, it's time to figure out your color palette. Okay? Be aware that the way that markers work and look, they put a color on, but it's very deceiving. Make sure that you test it out first on your paper to make sure that it's actually the color that you want. I went through this whole row of colors before I narrowed it down to the color palette that I was actually going to use. Okay? Be sure that you write down the number of the marker so that when you come back tomorrow, in case you haven't finished, you can easily find the right colors that you were working with the day before. Notice on the markers that there is a side that has an angled point and there is a side that has a more fine-tipped point. You can use either side when you are working, whichever you prefer. Okay? Take notice to the difference between the alcohol-based markers and the Tombow water-based markers. If you haven't used them yet, you will notice the difference when you get there. Okay? And don't forget that you're going to need some sort of a blender to blend your colors. As I start to put my color marker onto my drawing, you need to look and come up with the highlights, midtones, and shadows of your piece. Remember, we picked a color scheme. I went with monochromatic, and you will be putting that onto your drawing. You are not going for realism, you are going for matching values. When you start with the markers, you want to lay your lightest values in first and then go over top with your darker values. Once you've gone over top with your darker values, then you can kind of go in with your colorless blender and blend. The blender doesn't work as great with alcohol-based markers as it does with the water-based markers, but it will do a little bit of something. So once you've determined your light and dark values, those are what you want to lay into place. Remember, I'm doing a monochromatic color scheme. This is not a realistic color scheme. So you should lay the colors in according to the color scheme that you picked, making sure that you've identified the highlights, the midtones, and the dark values in your drawing.
I got a bad disease. Off from my brain is where I bleed. Insanity, it seems. It's got me by my soul to squeeze. Where all the love for me? With all the dying trees I scream. The angels in my dream, yeah. It turned to demons of greed, that's me. Where I go, I just don't know. Gotta take it slow. When I find my peace of mind, I'm gonna give you some of my good time. Today love smiled on me. It took away my pain, said please, oh let your ride be free. You gotta let it be, oh yeah. Where I go, I just don't know. Gotta take it slow. When I find my peace of mind, I'm gonna give you some of my good time.
All right, once I have all the color laid in, I'm going to come back in with the white pen, hit up any highlights that I missed. And then if you so choose, you can go in with a black Micron or Sharpie just to give it a little bit more kick. It's optional. It is not something you have to do, but I typically think it makes the drawings look better.